Let's dive into this edition of Fine Print with our top focus on the UK, as Indian origin economist and author Lord Meghnad Desai has resigned from the Labour Party claiming racism. Desai says that he had no choice but to resign post Jeremy Corbyn's readmission after just 19 days of suspension. Lord Desai says, and I quote, "It was a very peculiar decision to allow him back without any apology. He has been refused the party whip in the House of Commons for a few months, but that is a very lame response to a very big crisis." And so leaving a party after 49 years is no easy task. Lord Desai has blamed the Labour Party's failure to effectively tackle anti-Semitic racism within its ranks as the reason behind his resignation. Lord Desai says, and I quote again, "I have been very uncomfortable and slightly ashamed that the party has been injected with this sort of racism. Jewish MPs were abused openly and female members were trolled. It is out and out racism." Now, from what we know, Lord Desai does not plan on joining any political party in the near future. This is not the first time that anti-Semitic accusations have come up against the Labour Party, and it was anti-Semitism that led to the Labour Party losing 2019 elections. So I'm joined in by Lord Meghnad Desai himself. He's an author, economist and former Labour politician. He's joining us live from London. Lord Desai, a very warm welcome to you. Now, leaving a party after 49 years is no easy task. That's nearly half a century. What are your thoughts at the moment?
Well, obviously of some sadness that I'm leaving the party that I love very much, and the party in which I have to say I suffered no discrimination, no racism. I had lots of support and affection from people. I enjoyed working in the party, and I gave it a lot of my own time and effort. The party rewarded me by nominating me for a peerage, and so I was the first Labour peer of Indian origin ever. And I've been in the House of Lords for 31 years. So in a sense, from that point of view, I cannot complain.
Right.
But sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Right. Lord Desai, having said that, it's going to be a glorious association. Now, at the same time, it's very sad that the current happenings are being called a civil war within the Labour Party, as local Labour parties across Britain have Kayasthama's decision to deny Jeremy Corbyn the Labour whip. What does this massive rebellion speak of the Labour Party itself and its current disciplinary process?
Well, the Labour Party has always been a very procedure-bound party from the beginning, because it was thought that to impress, this is a working class organization, to impress the middle classes, we should have rules and regulations and meet committees and subcommittees and so on. So quite a lot of our time is spent fighting on procedural matters. And of course, the left of the party, this is the hard left of the party. I was on the soft left of the party. The hard left of the party is the great expert in exploiting these procedure and delaying matters and so on. We had them once before in the 70s and 80s, and we were able to throw them out, defeat them. Neil Kinnock showed great leadership. This time, there was a hard left leader, Jeremy Corbyn, whom I've known for many years. He was a leader, and I'm not saying that his attitude was necessarily anti-Semitic, but he did let it happen and encourage and did not necessarily discourage it. And I think this is a whole new thing on the hard left in Europe, that they are very anti-Semitic. And for me, it was not an acceptable situation. I was waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened for 3-4 years. So I finally decided, even though we had a new leadership, there was no sign that anti-Semitism would go away if Jeremy Corbyn was readmitted without any sort of conditions.
Right. Lord Desai, since you mentioned Jeremy Corbyn, why would you in fact accuse Jeremy Corbyn of being racist and anti-Semitic at all? What has been your personal experience with Corbyn?
You see, I myself have not experienced any anti-Semitic, and in many respects, the hard left had good policies about economy and so on, and I was very supportive. I mean, I didn't have any problem with the economic policy, but this particular element was very poisonous, and I don't think a democratic socialist party should have any such thing. We should be fighting racism and not tolerating racism.
Very
Even
well
though
said.
some people.
Very well said. Fighting racism, not tolerating. But Lord Desai, what do you think of the investigation conducted by the Equality and Human Rights Commission last month, in which there is mention of mental toll? The report also holds Labour responsible for harassment and discrimination. Your views on the EHRC report?
Well, quite frankly, I was waiting for the EHRC report to come out to be quite sure that my objections about anti-Semitism was not just a matter of my imagination or some isolated incidents, because people kept on saying, oh no, this is just exaggeration done by our political opponents. Only other political group investigated by the EHRC was the British National Party, which is a declaredly fascist party. It is shameful that the Labour Party should have to go through that kind of investigation and suffer that kind of report. Now, the issue was, should I just stay and hope that by fighting from within, things will improve? But when last week, only last Tuesday, Jeremy Corbyn was readmitted to the party without any conditions, without any apology, I thought, it's not going to happen. The getting rid of anti-Semitism is not happening, and clearly the party is ambivalent about it. I can't be here any longer. I'm very uncomfortable.
Right.
So I left.
Right. Lord Desai, which is exactly what I'd like to ask you. What, in your opinion, is the reason for allowing Jeremy Corbyn's readmission, that too without an apology?
Well, as I said, we had a very procedural party. He was suspended when the report came out. He said that this was not true, it's all exaggerated, whereupon he was suspended by the General Secretary of the party. But the procedure was that a subcommittee of the National Executive Committee could examine him, call him back in. They called him back in, and he said, well, maybe not, maybe I was too precipitous. And then they unanimously admitted him back in without any further condition. Now, again on Tuesday, another full meeting of the NEC will review that decision. But basically, all that's happening is by making these sorts of procedural noises. We are not actually tackling the problem itself. We are just, sort of doing something legalistic. And I think even taking his whip away is just a legalistic procedure. And I felt that this is not the way anti-Semitism is going to be eliminated from the Labour Party anytime soon. And I can't bear this any longer, so I have to go.
Right, fair enough. The problem seems to be much larger than Jeremy Corbyn, but he is indeed part of it. And that's why, Corbyn has been abusive to women is an allegation that's not new to the Labour Party MP. Something we have also witnessed when he faced allegations of referring to former British Prime Minister Theresa May as quote-unquote stupid woman, something he denied. But we have all been privy to video footage of that incident. Do you agree that he is not only sexist but also a misogynist?
Yeah, the thing is that in many ways, he has been a very good MP. I've known him for 40 years. But it is not about an individual. Okay, as a leader, he was representative of a tendency to allow anti-Semitism to fester in the party, and he did nothing to stop it. That is the charge of the AHRC. My view is that you have to show to an individual who has been suspected of allowing anti-Semitism a much tougher attitude, then we have been, I think about 1/3 of the party is still there who think that basically Jeremy Corbyn is a lost leader. A party cannot be half and half like that. It cannot be half racist and half non-racist. That is just not allowed. And you know, I am disappointed, I would say, in our new leader, who's a decent man, Keir Starmer, but he's much more a legalistic person, and what we need is very tough politics.
Right, and since you mentioned Starmer, Lord Desai, how do you view the current leadership of Kayasthama and the future of the Labour Party?
Well, we have a lot of people had great hope of Keir Starmer, still have great hope of Keir Starmer. He is a distinguished lawyer. He was the director of public prosecution who gave up his job and joined and joined Parliament. And he had only been there for a term, and everybody thought that he would be the great bold leader. I'm okay. He's the leader, so we are sort of stuck with him. But I think that he may not be effective in disciplining the party, although he may be better in. He has been good in holding Boris Johnson to account. But still, the Conservatives are in power till 2024, and if we don't clean up our act, we are not going to win. We will lose again. In the 49 years I have been in the party, we have been in office 18 years and 31 years in opposition. Right. I think it's getting like we're going to be perpetually in opposition and make a mess of ourselves. I think, you know, I've done my bit, and I can't stay in a racist party.
Right. Last but not least, Lord, do you have any plans to join any other political party?
No plans to join any other political party. I will stay in the House of Lords as what is called a crossbench lord, crossbench peer, which means that I don't take any whip and I have my own views and I express them.
Right. On that note, thank you so much for joining our broadcast today, Lord Desai. We wish you a terrific journey ahead as an independent peer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
Pleasure speaking to you.